My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm an associate real estate broker in the state of Alaska. My mission, as always, is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family. And today, we're going to be giving you the market update for what's going on in the Anchorage real estate market. Before we get started, though, do make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, do all the good stuff that lets the algorithm know that this channel is blessed. And without further ado, let's go and jump into today's market update, looking first at the single family part of this market. Now, the first thing we see is that for the month that we have the most complete information for, which is going to be September, we see that this time last year there was 333 homes available on the market, and this year it's 406. So we do see a slight a pretty significant increase in the inventory that is available. And also what we're seeing is that usually around this time of year prior to COVID, we would expect to see something around like 900 to close to 1,000 homes on the market. So we are seeing an increase in the inventory. We're still not quite where we were pre-COVID though, which, I mean, that might not even be a realistic expectation anymore, but that just kind of gives you a historical context. The next thing we need to look at is the number of properties that have actually sold for the month of September, the month that we have the most complete information for. So this time last year, for the month of September, there were 230 homes that sold, actually transferred ownership, went to somebody else. And this year, it's 234. So bit of a decrease, not too much movement there. Usually, we would see anywhere from about 260, 250. So we're a little off from where we are historically. Not huge cataclysmic shifts one way or the other, though. Now, the next thing we want to look at is the average sold price. So the average sold price we look at is just the year-to-date. I try to avoid using average sold price just month to month because those fluctuate. But the year to date, we see that this time last year to date was about 480,000, and this year it's about 513,000, which means it's gone up by about 6.77%. So that does show us that there continues to be a pretty healthy increase for the appreciation here in the Anchorage area, and that's probably not going to go anywhere anytime soon because historically, the inventory is still pretty low, and Anchorage is just one of those places that a lot of people are going to be moving to for work. Let's go and switch gears real quick and take a look at what's going on in the condo market. Now, in the condo market, we see that the inventory has gone up significantly. This time last year, there were 83 condos available on the market. Now there's 130, which that's an improvement. That's still going in the right direction. But usually around this time of year, we see anywhere from about 480, we'll say about 450, about 480. So we're still a long ways off from where we were pre-COVID. And I mean, people are still looking for pretty affordable housing options, just with inflation continuing to be an issue. In a market like that, you can see where condos start looking a lot more appealing. There's definitely some different pros and cons, but we'll get into that more in the summary. That's just what we're seeing right now, though. Now, what we see for the number of condos that have actually sold for the month of September is it was about 103 this time last year, and now it is 90. So we're seeing a bit of a dip in the number of condos that are actually selling. And again, just looking historically pre-COVID, probably about 78 to about 93 was kind of par for the course. So we're actually looking pretty good as far as the number of properties that are being sold. That is a bit of a dip, so we are going to pay close attention to it. We'll kind of save more of the analysis for the summary, but that'll do it for now. Now, the next thing we see is the average sold price year to date for condos went from about 270,000 to about 280,000. So there's a bit of an increase for the appreciation. I think it was about, 3.4%, which that's a pretty good, healthy amount of appreciation. We don't want to see it just skyrocket it up through the roof because what typically shoots up very quickly tends to come down pretty quickly as well. So I prefer to kind of see these nice, sustainable, gradual increases for appreciation in the area. All right, let's go and take a break real quick here. For those of you who've been watching for a bit now, you do know that I host a podcast called the Alaskan Journey Podcast, and that's where I interview people who've recently moved up here or people who've lived up here for a while to really share what their experience is like living up here on the last frontier. And if this is something you are considering, then it's going to be a great insight into what the state is actually like. So you definitely do want to go check that out. Link for that is going to be in the description section down below. And if you want to see some really cool drone shots and reels and stuff like that, where I go and take footage of the local area up here in Alaska and South Central and put those out there on those reels. So if you're trying to get a sense for the area, just kind of what the beauty and everything there is up here, make sure you go check that out. And without further ado, let's go and finish up today's market update, looking at the multifamily market. Now, looking at the multifamily market, we see that this time last year, there was about 96 multifamily properties available on the market. Now it's about 107. Now, usually we would see anywhere from about 200 to about 250 multifamily properties available on the market. So again, inventory is pretty low. When the interest rates were so low a couple of years ago, it's not that big of a surprise that we're not going to see much inventory really for the foreseeable future here. And we'll talk more about that in the summary, but again, not that big of a surprise. The next thing we want to look at here is what's going on as far as the number of multifamily properties that have actually sold. Well, not a whole lot of movement here. This time last year, there were 32 multifamily properties that sold, and this year it's 31. So not a whole lot of shifting one way or the other. Last but not least, the average sold price for multifamily properties went from about $501,000 this time last year to about $591,000 this year. So keep in mind also, multifamilies, once we're talking about multifamilies, especially here in Anchorage, they include anything from the little duplex all the way up to the enormous 30, 50-plex unit. Property that is obviously going to be multi-million. So even though on paper, yes, it has gone up by about $90,000, I wouldn't necessarily expect that if I own multifamily properties in Anchorage that it's gone up $90,000. I would just expect that one of those bigger properties have got into the data and it's kind of thrown things off a little bit. I do expect to see a pretty healthy appreciation for multifamily properties. I'm just not quite buying that it's gone up by 18% though. All right, let's go and do our summary real quick here. So really what this means for me is if I am a buyer, I am probably going to be pretty motivated to jump in as quickly as I can because the inventory is probably not going to be getting better anytime soon, just because the reason people aren't selling is because the interest rates are pretty low. And we're pretty low a couple of years ago. And so just about everyone has a low interest rate on their property, and they're looking around and they're going, man, if I jump into the market, I'm going to have to give up this sweet interest rate I have. And then I'm going to have to pay more with the inflated prices as well. So for that reason, a lot of people that normally would sell, they're holding on because they're like, well, I'm just gonna hang tight, and yeah, that's what's gonna be safe, and that's what I'm gonna do. And for a lot of people, that's what they're deciding to do, and that's the reason the inventory is looking a lot sparser than what it has in years past. Obviously, we're doing a little bit better. But getting back to pre-COVID years is probably just not going to be reality for the foreseeable future. And my fear would be that if interest rates suddenly go down, like they're probably not going to go down low enough that a lot of the folks that are sitting are going to be motivated to move. Who knows? Maybe they'll drop enough to where they're incentivized to make a move, but probably not. But what it will do is it'll create a lot of demand from buyers out there who are wanting to hop into the market. And as soon as that does happen, I mean, we see the price of everything shoot through the roof. So if I'm in your shoes, I would probably be more willing to jump in right now and at least avoid that kind of debacle and trying to make something happen. Because as the veterans of the COVID years will tell you, it is really tough trying to get anything to happen when you're competing for one house and there are 20, 30 other buyers out there trying to buy the same thing. So you can buy a house and then refinance later. That's not necessarily a bad option. If I'm a seller, this market still looks pretty good, but it's not the market we had had around the COVID years. So you just got to make sure that you're actually marketing and doing everything that you possibly can to get the best deal that you can, and make sure your expectations are correct. You can expect negotiating. You can expect sometimes to pay for some of the buyer's closing expenses because everything is so dadgum expensive that unfortunately is just becoming a pretty normal part of a lot of transactions now. All right, this has been your market update for Anchorage. Let me know if you have any questions. Would love to help you if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest. Reach out to me on my website down below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.